Welcome back to Retro Rebound. In today's video, we're going back to the golden era of Star Wars gaming. Now, I know we've said golden era quite a bit as of late on this channel. We just did the golden era of Activision. I've just referred to the golden era of Star Wars gaming. There was a lot of golden eras in the early 2000s, if I do say so myself, but none topped, in my humble opinion, the golden era of Star Wars games. What do I mean by that? As I said, the early 2000s Star Wars games were king. They set the precedent for what Star Wars gaming would be for the future, and we're experiencing revivals of those very same IP today. What do I mean by that? Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic now getting a remake. Star Wars Battlefront being redone by EA. You look at other titles that came out in the early 2000s, like Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. And then the only one I really haven't mentioned on this list outside of Star Wars Republic Commando is this one right here. Star Wars Bounty Hunter, and I thought this would be a good time to talk about it. Finally, the Book of Boba Fett is starting to pick up a bit. It took some time, I gotta be honest with y'all, but it's starting to pick up a little bit. The Mandalorian's super popular, so let's go back and talk about the ultimate bounty hunter himself, Jango Fett, which I love Jango Fett. The Fetts were done dirty in some of the original movies that we grew up with, the prequels, the original trilogy, but now with the Book of Boba Fett and a lot of expanded materials, the Fetts are getting their due finally. And I wanted to celebrate a game that has one of the most popular Fetts being Jango Fett. So this is my original copy I bought way back when GameStop actually used to sell PS2 copies, as you can see here. Now, just how old is this? You may have tracked my arc as a physical collector. There was a time Maddie didn't care about, you guessed it, no manual. GameStop was doing it even back then. Yes, that was not just one single video where I bought those retro games and they didn't have anything good there. It's been a while, but I thought we were all covered here for Retro Rebound. I saw it on my shelf and went, well, yeah, I'm going to show it off, like as I always do. I don't have the manual, unfortunate, but the back explains enough, I'd say. It'll do. So we have Let the Hunt Begin. You are the most fearless bounty hunter in the galaxy, hired to capture a deranged dark Jedi. Armed with an array of deadly weapons and skills, you'll face off against galactic scum from the darkest corners of the Star Wars trademark universe for the galaxy's most wanted. There is no place to hide. And it says pursue enemies with a missile-equipped jetpack, a flamethrower, whipcord, and more. Target multiple enemies with powerful blasters, battle fearsome beasts, bring your bounty in dead or alive. I just thought now is the perfect time to talk about this game, because watching Boba Fett, some may be confused, right? Boba Fett's persona in the original trilogy, Jango Fett, kind of the, I'm here to collect the bounty. All I care is about getting paid. They're the Star Wars mercenaries, right? That's what kind of the Mandalorians in general were built up as. Even if you play something like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, you'll see it there. But this game, going back to it, you forget how ruthless the Fetts were, right? So this was during the prequel era of Star Wars gaming. What really impressed me the most going back to this, and for those who are curious, this is not just the only way you can play it here on the PS2 or the GameCube, whatever. You can also play this on PS4. They actually ported it forward, and that's where the gameplay you're seeing on screen will be from. But what impressed me most going back to this game was some of its, and I don't think I've ever said this about any Star Wars game outside of probably the Battlefronts from DICE, its technical prowess. I mean, Star Wars Bounty Hunter is a not only good-looking game, but it's shockingly well animated. What I mean by that is little things like being able to jump on a ledge and shimmy along, and a little bit of 3D platforming kind of reminds me of the early days of Uncharted. Like, this game was super ahead of its time in that regards, in the way that you would actually explore environments, because you explore that way when you don't have your jetpack, then you get your jetpack, and then it's free reign. You're just going all over the place. It's awesome. There's a level of openness and freedom that this game managed to do that I don't think many others during its time really did, according to my memory. Not only that, the animations in this game, whether you're locked on, you're doing these side flips or back flips, front flips, what have you, the way that when Jango Fett takes out the laser cutter, he starts burning a hole through the fence, just that perfect, silky smooth animation, even if he's crouched, there's no sacrifice in quality there. I thought this game was super ahead of its time in those set animations. I just went back and looked at them and went, this is impressive. And I think even as a kid, that worked really well, because to me, you know, stupid little Maddie running around, I didn't know a thing about Jango Fett. I didn't know what a comic was. I just thought he was this cool guy with a mask. He's got this sick armor and 2 pistols. I remember, I don't have any pictures of it, unfortunately, but I dressed up as Jango Fett as a kid for Halloween. And I couldn't have told you a thing about him other than I thought he looked cool. Like, the Jango Fett aesthetic was contagious as a kid. And this game finally provided some well-needed exposure to who Jango Fett was, a ruthless bounty hunter. What do you mean by that? Well, one thing I loved about Bounty Hunter was the edge that this game had. If you've noticed, I like when my favorite IP, I guess, have a little bit of an edge. Such as how I spoke about Ultimate Spider-Man, how I'm speaking about Bounty Hunter, and you'll see this many times throughout this channel's lifespan, is I like a little bit of edge to the popular things because every universe has a bit of a dark side that I think is worth exploring. And Star Wars Bounty Hunter was really one of those first encounters with it outside of, I'd say, the dark side of KOTOR, and Jedi Knight Jedi Academy had a dark side ending. It makes sense that Star Wars would go to the gritty areas. But in this game, you'll go to like Coruscant, you'll actually see the city life, and you are truly a bounty hunter. The controls aren't as good as they should be. You have to use the D-pad to tab through all of your different equipment, like your flamethrower, your whipcord, and one of them is your ability to use your helmet, look around, and you'll scan enemies in the environment. And certain ones you'll see are labeled bounties, and they'll have a whole write-up of their name, their height, their age, and what they did to get them listed as a bounty. What you do is you mark them, and then you take them in dead or alive. So you can walk up, shoot them, collect them, or you can wrap them up with the whipcord and take them in alive. And when you do this, you're going to get credits. What's cool is all of this is entirely to the side. Like, for a game about being Star Wars bounty hunter, bounty hunting is like just a mechanic that you completely opt out of. Like, for me as a kid, I can confidently say when I played this game from start to finish, I didn't bounty hunt once. I didn't do it at all. I just shot people because what was cool was this game made you feel powerful. And this game is also probably responsible for a lot of people with carpal tunnel. What do I mean by that? So you can lock on by holding R1. And when you start shooting with the square button, it's not press and hold to shoot. It's like mash, 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 mash. And you need to do this because if you just hold down, he'll go poo, 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 poo. Just way too slow to do any damage. So you have to mash through it all. And the rooms will fill up with like 10, 15 enemies. And that makes you feel good because he's just like shooting under his arms. He's like aiming 2 different ways and firing away. Like, it's awesome. It's awesome. You feel so powerful even though you're not a Jedi, which is something that this came out, again, remember, during the prequel eras, everyone had a lightsaber. Everyone. And I don't want to spoil it in case someone hasn't seen the movie by this point, but let's just say the lightsaber did this man dirty too, right? So lightsabers were like, during this timing Star Wars, the powerhouse. If you had a lightsaber, you were certified destructive. But for Star Wars Bounty Hunter, it showed that you could have 2 blaster pistols and light up a whole room and not take any damage. I love that about this game. Again, there was like an edge to it. You could use the whipcord, you could wrap someone up like I did in the gameplay, and you could set them on fire with a flamethrower. And they'll actually scream. It's terrible. It's terrible. But it's amazing that they let you do it. You know, I just think the storytelling here, it doesn't even matter. It's really watching Jango Fett just be Jango Fett. What I'm saying with that is when he gets his jetpack in the beginning of the game on Merchant's Row. When he gets to the merchant, the guy's like, oh, how much you want to buy this for? I was thinking about selling it for, and he just takes out a gun and he goes, your life. And I'm like, that's just, there are so many great one-liners. Like, there's one time you have this hold of a significant politician, and he's hanging off the edge of a building, and they're telling you to release him, like let him go safely, of course, is the assumption. And he's like, as you wish. And he just throws him off the building. And it's like Jango Fett did not give one single care just about being a bounty hunter, completing his missions. He was a badass. That's what was so cool about these games, is he was just a cool character to follow. I don't know how else to put it. There's no eloquent way of speaking about it. Cool guy with mask was cool. Not really a super deep character in my opinion. They didn't try to evoke any emotional responses out of the player. It's just, hey, walk around this Star Wars universe, be a bounty hunter, wrap him up with the whipcord, collect bounties. And of course, one thing that I love about Star Wars are its planets. I think that's the best thing about it, is just the different walks of life that you can see there. Especially Coruscant, to me, is like one of the most criminally unexplored parts of the Star Wars universe. Like, that is a part of Star Wars that would make such a great, I would say, like open world game even. And this game allows you to run around that cityscape a little bit. And we saw that in the recent Lego Star Wars trailer, that you could run around like an open world Coruscant or a mini open world. That has me super excited. I think that this is a game that has that almost sci-fi cityscape-like feeling that you could capture so many new Star Wars fans with. And so this game lets you actually run around and experience that a little bit. Oh, and how could I forget? The music in this game is iconic, especially the main menu themes. Oh my gosh, like when I fired this game up, it washed over me with a ton of different memories. I think this is one of the most iconic opening themes to a Star Wars video game ever. Like if you fired it up and you heard it once, you'll never forget it. It just really sets the tone. Kind of reminds me of how I felt with Star Wars Republic Commando as well. That like, oh, hey, ho, ho, like just epic stuff here. Also, there are some cool unlockables in Star Wars Bounty Hunter. Like you can run around the levels and you can find these golden collectibles. You can find these blue collectibles, and they'll give you pages to comic books from Dark Horse in here, so you can learn a little bit more about Jango Fett if you so desire. There's also behind the scenes card packs that you can get that I didn't even know were a thing for Star Wars back then, but they had like Wizards of the Coast Star Wars cards that would do things. And I always thought that was interesting because there's been so many experiments with card games throughout our lifetime that you'll just never hear of because companies are constantly trying them. But yeah, just a lot of cool unlockables in this game as well. I remember using cheat codes for this game back when I was a kid because I struggled a little bit to stay alive and do the platforming. I wasn't very good at it growing up. So that was another one that I gotta just shout out here is the unlockables, the music, all of it just very early 2000s, if you could put a term on it. But otherwise, it's not a game, in my opinion, and I've noticed I got to be a little bit more tame. I think I'm pretty tame on this channel, but when I'm somewhat dismissive, people get upset with me. Like when I was dismissive of Final Fantasy IX's combat, people were like, what? What? How dare you? I was like, okay, I said it was the last of its kind, and you know, that's all there really was to it. But with Star Wars Bounty Hunter, in my opinion, I didn't find much there with the story when replaying this game for the channel. It's just one of those games that gave me good vibes of sort of a product of its time, right? It's like, will we ever see a bounty hunter game that just tries to do cool stuff with its gameplay? Or will they have to find the deep themes, the strong narrative, making you care about Jango Fett? To me, I think that's important for a lot of games, but I'm also of the mindset that not every game needs to do that. Not every game needs to tear at your heartstrings and make you feel distraught. Like sometimes you just want to feel cool. And this game lets you feel cool. And again, I think a big testament to that is the animation quality. Just, again, the ability to move your arms around and shoot wherever you want, the wrapping them up and collecting bounties, the backflips, the burning through gates. It's awesome. And it's a galactic journey. So you're going to go to a lot of planets, see a lot of new sights. But the gameplay system is fun. Again, only complaint I need to emphasize here for those of you who are tempted to go back, make sure you don't got carpal tunnel, because I've had some wrist and elbow issues in my days, and I would honestly not be shocked if this game participated, even if it's like 0.2%, because you mash that square button. And if you've got a brand new controller and you want to break it in, that square button is going to be worked out by the time you're done. So just consider yourself warned on that behalf, that Star Wars Bounty Hunter, it's a bit of a workout, if you will. But otherwise, great game. Love the aesthetic, love the environments, love the character Jango Fett. Really cool. And I just wanted to share some love on this character with, I think, some of the best episodes of Boba Fett coming up pretty soon. And just remember the OG Fett, if you will. OG Fett. Even though I guess Boba Fett really is the OG. It's funny. Jango Fett is the OG for me because that's the first Fett I met, right? Through the prequel trilogy. But when you think about it, Boba Fett's really the OG, yeah? Even though he's the kid. Anyway, I'm rambling now. These are just some thoughts I wanted to share on Star Wars Bounty Hunter, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how many of you out there remember this game fondly, what you liked about it, what maybe you disliked about it. So please do fire away. And with that, I'll talk with all of you very soon in the next Retro Rebound. Peace out.